Hello and welcome to the webinar, Outbound 2.0, how your business can have its own consistent, predictable and reliable lead generation machine in 8 weeks or less. So why attend this webinar? If you sell business to business, have a great product or service, high caliber salespeople who are great at converting new business when they're in front of the right customers, their ideal customers. But the problem is you can't find enough of those people. Start conversations that help them convert more business often enough. If that's you, then please keep listening. My name's Stefan Boyle. I'm the founder of Marketing Republic. I worked in a family printing business for about 17 years and I built a sales team, but I've really had continual problems growing that sales team. I really had a high churn because I kept hiring people with promising the earth and it never really delivered. And eventually I realised the problem was me. I had no real system to find new customers and the salespeople I was hiring were great at converting new business when they're in front of those ideal customers, but they really weren't very good at prospecting and finding new opportunities, and they found every excuse under the sun to really avoid doing that. And so I realised that problem was me, and I had to put a system in place, and I had to commit to understanding and learning more about marketing and lead generation. So I made that commitment to lifelong learning. I dedicated myself to continually learning about marketing, lead gen, business growth, and went on every course I could find, attended countless seminars, read every marketing book I could get my hands on, and I still do to this day. I'm always trying to learn every new technique, system, process, any skill I can find to really help develop my business and obviously the business of my clients too. But the real turning point for me was this book here, Predictable Revenue. It was really reading this book by Aaron Ross and Mary Lou Tyler that really changed my direction in my business, and really discovering cold calling 2.0 really was a pivotal moment for me, because this process really struck a chord with me, and I really had to investigate further and test it and see what we could do with this process. So from there I really helped our clients with running test campaigns to see if this really worked, and it really did. So we completely remodeled our own lead generation business to focus on cold calling 2.0, and we've invested thousands of hours since testing, implementing the cold calling 2 system for ourselves and obviously for our clients as well. Since then we've run campaigns in 21 countries with some really fantastic results for our clients, and we use the process ourselves on a daily basis to help continually grow Marketing Republic, and obviously for our clients as well to really help them grow their business. So since we've implemented this system, not just for our own business but across many different sectors, different geographies, different target markets, we've really learned an awful lot. So we've developed our own system called Outbound 2.0. Now the opportunities we found for our clients across the world in some amazing businesses of all different sizes, but primarily the clients we have focus on very large organisations. Now of course this works with any size, but primarily the clients we work with across these, here's just a sample set of the types of opportunities that we found. Now the most important point of any successful lead generation campaign is your mindset and what you really deem as what success looks like. So the problem, as I said, most salespeople hate to prospect. Most salespeople aren't very good at prospecting, not really surprising because it's a very different skill set from traditional salespeople who are great at closing business, and that's really where they're judged, is how much business, how many new clients they've had, and obviously the values of the deals that they've sold. So even when salespeople do prospect, as soon as they get a pipeline to service, they drop prospecting like a proverbial hot potato and go and work the deals in their pipeline. And you can't really argue with this, is what you hire them to do after all. The problem is that the pipeline begins to shrink again. One of the biggest misconceptions in modern effective sales is adding salespeople and working them harder is what grows revenue. This is wrong. In high productivity sales organisations, salespeople do not cause customer acquisition growth, they fulfill it. Lead generation causes new customer acquisition. This is from predictable revenue. So the consequences of not having an effective lead generation system or having your salespeople prospect is this peaks and troughs. If your sales team are prospecting, it's inevitable there will be peaks and troughs in their sales pipeline, as I previously explained. If you're prospecting, your peak obviously rises with new opportunities, but once you're trying to close, that pipeline really drops away. So I realised that the answer to growing my sales and profits was not just about being great at what we did. It wasn't just about being the best in our industry. The continual goal is to be the best is admirable, but the reality is the companies who succeed and who are the most successful are not always the best at what they do in terms of their product or service, but what they do excel at is sales and marketing. So you presumably hired your sales team because they were great at selling and closing deals. So why would you get your most expensive resource in terms of cost per hour doing what's deemed to be the lowest level cost per hour task, i.e. prospecting? Much more effective is a dedicated outbound prospecting team that will feed your sales team with qualified opportunities. You'll still have your best sales performers and your worst performers. The 80-20 rule applies to everything, obviously, but you should be measuring salespeople's effectiveness at converting pipeline, not creating the pipeline in the first place. So the solution that often fails that people try and do is they realise that they need to prospect, so they decide to actually start cold calling. So okay, cold calling is dead. Yes, potentially true. It does work some of the time, but no one likes it and it isn't as effective as it used to be or it needs to be. Most salespeople admit they hate making cold calls and the rest lie. Yes, some become almost immune to the rejection and the soul-destroying nature of trying to navigate their way around those gatekeepers and pitching to execs who politely try to get rid of them at best, somewhat polite at all. So typically, people make this mistake. They buy a database, and some of our clients have wasted fortunes on this. They then hire telesales people. I literally had a call yesterday from a client whose business partner has just spent £100,000 in 3 months doing this exact process without a single opportunity. So once they've hired those people, bought a list or bought a subscription to a huge database where they think, well, right, here's endless amounts of people we can call. So they then get those telesales people phoning. Then if really they struggle like anything and then people pull their hair out with that, that frustration. This is the point in which they realise they need professional, specialist help to build a sales pipeline, as per the example of the person who called me yesterday. So how is cold calling 2.0 different? The approach has 3 key principles. Firstly, there's no cold calling. Instead, simple emails are sent, typically asking for a referral to the right person to talk to. We focus on results, not activity. Cold calling 1 is all about the number of dials per day. Typically, people have got auto dialers and say, look, 60 to 100 calls a day, hit those phones, and it's kind of relentless, but it doesn't mean it's effective. Cold calling 2 is focused on results. It's systematic because what it makes, it's scalable and what delivers predictable results. That's really what it's all about. You know that once you've achieved typical results that are predictable, you can then say, right, well, let's replicate that. The first step, or the key steps in the cold calling 2 process, the first step is really important. It's defining your ideal customer profile. Now, it sounds very obvious, but a lot of our clients, when we first work with them, think they know this, but they don't. They don't really. They've got to really make sure you're defining the profile of the people you're speaking to. So it's the organisations, it's the geographies, it's the specific type of businesses or sectors. Then you're drilling down again into the individuals in those businesses, what job titles, what their roles, their responsibilities. So you really know what your ideal customer profile looks like. So the key considerations when developing an ICP are revenue potential and the likelihood of buying. So it's all very well saying we'd like to deal with these types of businesses, but do they actually buy from you? And if they do, what is that worth to your business? Then you've got to build a target list. Based on your ICP, you'll need to build a database for each target market. So you might have different markets that you're going after with perhaps a different proposition. You may have to source a target list from scratch or combine a variety of different data sources. So the key here and the vital aspects is to aim as high as possible in an organisation, so you're not necessarily building a list of your actual job title you may normally deal with. So for example, let's say you're targeting IT directors. With cold calling 2, we're not just building a list of IT directors, we're looking for their peers. We're looking for CEOs, ops directors, anyone who's parallel or above those people, so we can work those lists and get referrals down to the people that we actually want to speak to. We then run outbound email campaigns. So we're sending mass emails to prospects that fit the ICP. When I say mass, we are not sending thousands of emails at a time. It's not spamming. We're building very definitive target lists They are sending out small numbers of emails to those people. They are broadcasts, but we're talking around sort of 50 or so per day to those people, because we're looking for engagement and to have conversations with those people. So the emails actually they don't look at broadcasts. There's no HTML. It's text-based, so it looks like one person has just typed an email to another person, so it looks personal. And when we use this approach, we're looking to get a response rate of around 7 to 12% using these simple email templates, usually seeking referral to the right person to speak to. That's the starting point. We then work the responses using both email and telephone to follow up to start the conversations. But this is where mistakes can happen, and it's absolutely crucial about what to say in those emails. I don't know about you, but I get many emails all the time that are often epically long introductory emails, all about the person sending it, not about what I'm looking for in my business. And people don't really want to read about everything about you at this stage if they don't even know who you are, what you do, or there isn't a need at that moment in time. So if you're like me, you get a lot of sales emails, and I bet you delete a lot, almost all like me. That's kind of like those desperate emails that are epically long, all about them, and you just think, it's desperate. No, I'm not interested right now. I might be interested another time, but you've hit me at the wrong point in time, and you've lost my interest straight away. So the key is to stand out from the crowd. How do we instigate a response? That's the most important thing. We're not looking to say, I'll keep your email on file, and then when you are ready, give me a shout. We want to start a conversation. We want a response. So you've got to stand out from the crowd. So the best way, like anything in life, is often the simplest way. It's finding a way in. So we aim as high as we possibly can in an organisation. We ask for a referral to the person who we actually want to speak to. So to do that, you keep it simple. We make the subject line interesting. We all receive lots of emails which vary in importance. We often lack time to go through them all one by one. Therefore, you're only going to open an email that has a clear message. If your subject line is misleading, this will be off-putting, so you need to keep to the point. So some examples of subject lines we use are obviously lead generation we would use for our business, but whatever the keyword or key phrase is for your business, and then obviously the name of the prospect you're emailing to. Or something like quick question, then the person's name, or one that's really successful for us is just as simple as guidance, please. Then a simple cold email template is this. Short and sweet. I was hoping you could help me. I'm looking to speak to the person with overall responsibility for whatever it is that you do at the company you're targeting. Please can you help point me in the right direction. Really simple, really clear that what you're looking to achieve from that email. Now the important thing also as well is express gratitude for their time. Conclude your email with a really short line expression of gratitude for their help and the matter you're speaking about. Now, I know it's stating the obvious, but people do miss this. Thanks for your help. Your help is much appreciated. Manners do cost nothing, but it's amazing how many people kind of miss this point. If you're asking for something, just thank them in advance for helping you out. Then, don't just leave it there. If they don't respond, you follow up. Don't be put off if your ideal prospect doesn't reply to your first email. Why not draft a simple follow-up? They may be busy or forgot to reply. There is such a thing as being pleasantly persistent. If you're writing emails that are interesting and easy to respond, you're far more likely to receive a reply if you keep on going. Don't suddenly change tacks and have a completely different approach. Just make sure you're polite, you're persistent, and you keep asking for a very simple call to action. So the important thing is, as I said, is not just one email. We use a 7x15 approach in the campaigns we build. So that's around 7 points of contact in around 15 days. This is generally a combination of emails and telephone calls. Then you work those responses from there as well. The beauty of this approach is that it's cold calling without the cold calls. Everyone we ever speak to has had at least one and possibly a series of emails to which we can refer to in those initial conversations. So the first calls, if someone makes a positive response, call them. For example, often people write a simple response such as, it's me or tell me more. Often we get that and it's clear it's been done on a mobile phone or an iPhone, a tablet, or just a simple response. It's really short and sweet. They don't quite know what you're asking for at this stage other than who's responsible for what you're looking for. So they're kind of often reticent, but if they respond with something positive like this, it's an opportunity that there's a door open there and you can speak to them. Then the way we approach it is a very soft consultative sell. We're establishing a fit. Once you have that initial conversation, you don't want to blow it. You've got to be gentle. We use this phrase. The reason for our call is to establish if there's a fit between our companies. If we both agree that there is, we can work out how to progress this conversation. We're not calling up and pitching in a very hard, old school way. We are making sure that this is a very consultative sell. We're starting engagement. Just remember that we've interrupted them. We've asked for this call. They haven't come to us. It's not an inbound lead, someone who's looking at that moment in time. We're trying to really understand a bit more about them and their business and what perhaps problems they have that you can solve. So, just really saying, look, this is soft sell. If this isn't right for you, we'll leave you alone. But if there's an issue that we can help you solve, let's have a conversation about it. So it's a very soft approach. And just the important thing is it's all about them. As I said, you've interrupted them. So, it's not all about you. You wouldn't go to someone in a party and suddenly, without even saying hi, start telling them all about yourself without that person quickly losing interest and trying to lose you as quickly as possible. And it's the same with any relationship here. We're starting this out. So you're trying to ask questions. And so many cold emails and cold calls focus on trying to immediately pitch. It happens all the time. Sometimes people pitch in a very short way. Sometimes it is one of those epic long emails. But even so, they might not be ready to hear your pitch that time. Long emails or calls telling people how long you've been in business or the awards you've won, etc., blah, 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 blah. It's a big no. They're not interested. Good on you for winning awards, but I'm only interested in what's going to help me and what's going to help my business. And if you're not really, making that clear or starting to ask questions to make me open up as to what those solutions are, I don't care where you're based, how many people you got, all those kind of things. So it's a big no. You can lose people really quickly if you start that conversation the wrong way. So focus on them. Ask questions that ultimately relate to these two issues. Can you make them money or can you save them money? Which basically leads back to the first question. Anything that's a problem, anything that's something that you can solve, just get them to try and open up, to try and find, what are the key things that get them talking? What really interests those people? Ask questions that relate to the primary reason for the initial cold emails to create engagement. For example, my job at Master Republic is a chief conversation starter. The key objective of any sales prospect is to start conversations and engage so you can understand more about the prospect and qualify in depth, creating intelligence that enables sales teams to close deals faster. So to recap the most important things about prospecting: define your ideal customer profile, write a cold email sequence. Now the important thing is, there is a whole number of different emails with different proven strategies that we use in that sequence, that even if people don't respond the first time, we're building systems here that actually then keep that momentum, keep being persistent on autopilot to a degree, to make sure that we are optimizing every name in your prospect list in that database, so we can actually maximize the return on investment and return on the time. Test it, refine it, test your messaging, test your subject lines, test the time of the day. So we're building all those systems, all those sequences, testing data, split testing, everything we do to make sure that we can get better and better and better over time. And then really work out what resonates with your ideal customer profile. Lots of people think they know why customers buy from them, but when they really start talking to them, it might be something completely different. And now, if you're relentless with a sales prospecting campaign, you can start to really understand, maybe one market you're going after or a whole number of markets where there might be common issues they have, or there might be completely different issues, or they might have different terminology. They might think, well, this is my problem, but actually, you actually get in to find that problem in a whole different way. So you've got to find out what resonates with your ideal customer profile. Then you start conversations in a soft, consultative manner. So if you want to build your sales pipeline, if you really want to make sure you're focused, a dedicated team on building that pipeline in a relentless way so you can grow your business, grow the number of clients you have, and actually have confidence to actually make this predictable over a period of time, you can either build that team yourself, or you can outsource and focus your sales activity on actually converting business. Either way, it's vital to actually make sure that you're relentless in your sales prospecting and you're building your pipeline. If you're not, you will have peaks and troughs in your business. But if you really focus on it, you know that you can actually then focus on closing more sales. So there's two options: outsource it or bring it in-house. Now, how much is this worth to your business? So how many new clients are you looking to grow? If you've got X amount of target of new business and your average transaction is Y, you can work out how many new clients you have. Obviously, once you know your conversion rates and your close rates for new clients as well. So you can actually work backwards from, this is what I need to grow. This is how many opportunities I need to have to close that amount of business. So the next steps. If you want to implement a sales prospecting strategy and build a proven system for your business, let's talk. We offer a free strategy call to really understand a bit more about what you're doing now, what you've done in the past, and what you're looking to achieve, to see if we can help. It's a simple, no obligation conversation to see if we can help build that system for you and actually offer that done for you service to help you grow your business. It's no obligation. Whatever value we can offer, we're happy to provide. And if that's something then you want to take further forward and use our services, we'd be delighted to. If you don't, that's fine as well. So there's a very simple application form on this page that you can then go to book a time slot, and then we'll have a conversation and we can go from there. So that's it. My name's Stefan Boyle. Thank you very much again for listening, and hopefully I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks a lot.